So a couple of weeks ago, PortKeys sent me this guy, their brand new 5-inch BM5 monitor. And when I first heard about it, I wasn't actually too excited until they mentioned the fact that this thing had a Bluetooth module on the back that would allow me to control my Blackmagic Pocket cinema camera, to which I was like, yeah, send it over. What's good, creative fan? Brandon Washington here, and today we're going to be taking a look at this monitor here, which has quickly become my go-to monitor when shooting with the Blackmagic Pocket cinema camera. Now, the main reason why I love this monitor is the touchscreen controls that it gives me with the Blackmagic Pocket cinema camera. Now, typically, I've done a ton of gear reviews on this channel, and when I do, I talk about the specs and I talk about, what the monitor is and all the, stuff on their website and all that stuff. But realistically, I don't want to do that with my gear reviews anymore. I really want to just talk about my experiences with them, because this time I decided to take about 3 to 4 weeks before actually talking about this monitor so I could really use it and kind of really start to understand it and really decide, is this thing worth what you're going to spend for it? And if I truly like it, because a lot of products, we get them, we love them for the first couple weeks, but then it just becomes normal. And so I wanted to know how good this product really was. Now, the first thing that I'll say is the fact that this is a true touchscreen monitor, for the sense that it actually allows you to operate your camera. I've reviewed other touchscreen monitors before, and pretty much they just allow you to do what normal monitors can do. You can just use a touchscreen, and a lot of times the touchscreen isn't great and it doesn't add a whole lot of value, but it does help. This one, on the other hand, not only allows you to actually adjust the settings of the monitor, but you can also use it to stop and start recording on your camera, as well as control other things like your aperture, ISO, and other stuff. Now, I will say that this monitor, as great as it is, does still have a few bugs. Now, they are designing this monitor not only for the Blackmagic Pocket cinema camera, but they've also designed it to work with like the C200 and the, what's that other little cube camera? I can't think about what it's called right now. But basically, it's designed to work with a couple different cameras, which means it doesn't work perfectly with any camera. It's like that old saying, the jack of all trades but master of none. That's pretty much what this monitor does, but it does a pretty decent job with each. Now, where I found this to come in handy is when I rig out my Blackmagic Pocket cinema camera. As you guys have known in some of my past videos where I talk about my rig, when I use it on the Blackmagic Pocket cinema camera, most of the time my screen is not super visible and definitely difficult to get to, because I like to use a V-mount system and I like to keep my battery pretty up close to the back of my camera. It makes it real hard to actually get to the camera to make some adjustments, especially, maybe touching the screen for recording or changing aperture or white balance and things like that. And so that's where this monitor has really come in handy. This monitor allows me to make all those adjustments on the actual monitor itself. The other thing I'll say about this monitor is that it is bright. It is probably the brightest monitor that I have used in quite a while. And so I can say that even when filming outdoors in direct sunlight, I haven't needed like a sunshade with this. I think they sent me a sunshade with this, but I never used it. And that's because I really don't feel like I need to. It is so bright. It's honestly, it might be brighter than the actual screen on the back of the Blackmagic, but it's definitely worth it. I mean, the brightness on this thing is perfect. Now, the other thing I like about this monitor is that inside the box that it came with, which actually it came in like its own little mini Pelican case, which was a nice touch, but it actually comes with a power solution that allows me to power this thing off of V-mount batteries, which, like I mentioned before, with my rig, I use all V-mount batteries. So I definitely liked that additional add-on, but it does have prongs on the back of here. So if you did want to actually just power this using like a Sony LP battery, I think this is designed for, then you would have no problems with that either. Now, one area where I really loved using this is not too long ago, I did a video talking about the Hollyland wireless system. And this is where I personally think that this monitor really came into play. When using a wireless system, which is the reason why I have these Condor Blue little attachments on the top, so I can attach my wireless system to this. When using a wireless system with this really becomes beneficial. If you're ever sticking your Blackmagic in a situation, whether it is an overhead shot or you're mounting it to a camera, that's dumb. Whether you're mounting it to a car or pretty much just putting your Blackmagic out of arm's reach. This is an awesome way to be able to actually control your Blackmagic without touching it. I found that this thing works pretty well with the Bluetooth thing that's built in. Now they have a short antenna and a long antenna, and pretty much you can use whichever one. I did notice that the long antenna does actually increase the range, so it's not just there for looks. But I will say that the reach for this wasn't as good. I would say that even though my Hollyland would allow me to go about 400 feet away, the Bluetooth module on this monitor doesn't allow you to really get that far. Now, as far as exactly how far you can go, I'm sure it's on their website. I'm not sure what that number is, but I will say that it's not gonna allow you to get like crazy far away. So I wouldn't say this is good for like a drone system. Now, there were a couple things on this monitor that I was not able to actually test out, like for example, the SDI solution. I don't have a camera that uses SDI. Also, the focus pulling system. So apparently this thing will allow you to do like touch to focus, and it'll actually allow your camera to pull focus. On my Blackmagic systems, I use all EF lenses, so can't really do that. So I wasn't able to test it, even though that is supposed to be a feature. And I've seen it work with like the C200, but I didn't get a chance to test that myself. But I will say outside of that, all the additional things that you would expect to be on a monitor, especially of this price point, are here. Things like focus peaking, waveforms. It actually has a lot of different waveforms you can actually use. The ability to add LUTs to this thing. I mean, I guess pretty much everything that you would expect a monitor to have, this thing has, and it's built like a tank. All in all, this is a really solid monitor. I'm actually very happy with it, and it has become my go-to monitor. Now, I do have the Atomos Ninja 5, which is a recorder, not just a monitor, where this here is just a monitor. And honestly, if they could figure out a way to blend all of those things together, I think that would be the perfect monitor of all time. Something that has the Bluetooth controls of this guy with the recording abilities of my Atomos Ninja 5. I think that would ultimately make the perfect monitor. At this point, I'm pretty much switching back and forth between the two. If I need to have control, I use this one. If I want to be able to record, then I use the Atomos. And that's pretty much how I do it going forward. I don't know if this is going to 100% completely replace my Atomos at this point, but I will say that it is a very close contender. If you are someone who's looking for the best possible monitor you can get, at this point, the question I would ask is, if you need a recorder, go the Atomos route. But if you want to have control over your camera from your monitor, this is definitely the best way to go, especially if you're shooting with the Blackmagic Pocket Cinema camera or any of the other cameras that this monitor actually supports. I'll have links down below to this monitor and all the other elements that go into this. I definitely think if you have a Blackmagic Pocket Cinema camera, you should at least check it out. It is my new go-to monitor for that camera when I need to control it, especially rigged out. But let me know what you guys think. If you think this monitor is worth it, if you're planning on picking one up, or if you've seen other reviews about it and there's anything that maybe I left out that you think is beneficial to people, leave those down in the comments below. But thanks so much for checking out this video, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.